The Curse of the Cursed Sorcerer. Chapter 1, The Haunted Mansion. It was a dark and stormy night when Emma and her friends decided to explore the abandoned mansion on the outskirts of town. The rumors had been swirling for years about the strange occurrences that happened there, and they were eager to see if the legends were true. As they made their way through the overgrown garden and up to the front door, the hairs on the back of their necks stood up. The house looked even more menacing up close, with broken windows and a sagging porch. But they were determined to explore the house, and they pushed open the creaky front door. The musty smell of the abandoned house hit their nostrils, and they could hear the sound of creaking floorboards under their feet. As they explored the house, they discovered eerie artifacts and strange symbols etched into the walls. But what really gave them chills were the whispers they heard, coming from an unseen presence in the shadows. Suddenly, they heard a loud banging sound coming from upstairs. They cautiously climbed the stairs, their hearts pounding in their chests. As they reached the top of the stairs, they saw a shadowy figure standing at the end of the hallway. They froze in fear, but the figure beckoned them closer. As they approached, they realized that it was a ghostly apparition, hovering just inches above the ground. The ghostly figure began to speak, warning them of the dangers that lurked within the house. Emma and her friends knew that they had to get out of there before it was too late. But just as they turned to leave, they heard a loud crashing sound coming from the room next door. They cautiously opened the door, and what they saw made their blood run cold. Chapter 2, The Curse. As Emma and her friends entered the room, they found it in complete disarray. Furniture was overturned, and strange symbols were etched into the walls. But what caught their attention was a large, ornate chest in the center of the room. Despite their better judgment, they couldn't resist the urge to open the chest. Inside, they found an old book, filled with ancient symbols and strange incantations. As they pored over the book, they realized that they had stumbled upon a powerful curse. The curse had been cast by a previous owner of the house, who had been a powerful sorcerer. The curse had trapped the sorcerer's soul inside the house, and it was seeking revenge on anyone who dared to enter. Emma and her friends knew they had to break the curse before it was too late. They began to chant an ancient incantation, hoping to break the curse and free the trapped soul. But as they chanted, the ghostly apparition returned, hovering ominously in the doorway. It spoke once again, warning them that the curse could not be broken so easily. Suddenly, the room began to shake, and strange symbols appeared on the walls. Emma and her friends knew that they had to act quickly if they wanted to escape the cursed house alive. As they fled down the stairs, the house seemed to come alive around them. Doors slammed shut, and the floorboards creaked ominously under their feet. Just as they thought they were home free, they heard a blood-curdling scream coming from upstairs. They knew they had to go back and face the curse head-on if they wanted to break it once and for all. Chapter 3, The Sacrifice. Emma and her friends made their way back up the stairs, their hearts pounding in their chests. They knew they had to face the curse head-on if they wanted to break it. As they entered the cursed room, they saw that the ghostly apparition had taken on a more menacing form. Its eyes glowed with an otherworldly light, and its voice was deep and menacing. The ghostly figure told them that the curse could only be broken with a sacrifice. Someone had to offer up their life to the sorcerer's soul in order to break the curse and release it from the house. Emma and her friends knew that they couldn't let anyone die. But as they searched for another way to break the curse, they realized that there was no other option. One of them had to sacrifice themselves in order to break the curse. After much debate, they decided that Emma would be the one to offer herself up as a sacrifice. She knew that it was the only way to save her friends and break the curse for good. As she stood before the ghostly apparition, Emma closed her eyes and offered herself up as a sacrifice. The ghostly figure accepted, and the curse was broken. But as Emma's friends made their way out of the house, they heard a strange laughter coming from behind them. They turned to see that the ghostly apparition had disappeared, but in its place stood a figure that was even more terrifying. Chapter 4: The Sorcerer's Return. Emma's friends watched in horror as the figure before them began to transform. It grew taller and more menacing, its skin turning a sickly shade of green. Its eyes glowed with an eerie light, and its hair stood on end. The figure before them was not a ghost, but the sorcerer himself, returned to exact his revenge on those who had dared to enter his cursed house. The sorcerer began to chant an ancient incantation, summoning forth all the dark powers at his command. Emma's friends knew that they had to act quickly if they wanted to defeat him. One of them remembered the ancient incantation from the cursed book they had found in the chest. They began to chant the words, hoping to summon the same dark powers as the sorcerer. As they chanted, they could feel the power building within them. The air around them grew thick and heavy, and the very ground beneath their feet began to shake. With one final burst of energy, they unleashed their power upon the sorcerer. A bright light enveloped him, and he let out a blood-curdling scream as he was consumed by the very darkness he had summoned. With the sorcerer defeated, Emma and her friends made their way out of the cursed house, vowing never to return again. But as they left, they could still hear the faint whispers of the sorcerer's voice, promising vengeance upon anyone who dared to enter his house again. To this day, the house remains abandoned, and the legend of the cursed sorcerer lives on. Few dare to enter the house, and those who do never return. The end. If you want more horror stories, then just subscribe to my channel. I love to see you again soon.